Hey Mason families, it's Jonathan Cooper here, and it's been another great week of learning for our online students and our in-person students. And as we come to the close of another week, we want to give you an update around the district and what's going on. First of all, we do recognize that the COVID cases are going up across the nation, and you've all seen that in the news. Well, we're not alone in that here in our community. The cases are going up in our community as well in our school, and we're watching that closely as we do each and every day to follow that data, because we want to make data decisions that keep our schools and our staff and students safe. We also recognize that COVID is not the only piece of safety that we watch, and we watch the whole child, mental health, their safety, and as well as our staff. And so as we look at this and we look at the whole child, we recognize that mental wellness and mental health is a major component of what we care about and what we watch closely. I'll give you an example. As we look through the entire year, we have watched closely the symptoms coming in from COVID, and one of the things that we've recognized is that we have had one case that has actually gone to the hospital for a concern over dehydration, and so they were able to go in, get taken care of quickly, and get out and be okay. However, when you look at mental health in our, and this is not just us at Mason City Schools, but in schools across the country, in Mason specifically, we've looked at over the last 3 to 4 weeks 15 cases where students have had to go to the hospital for suicide ideation. That is concerning to us. And the reason I share that with you is because we recognize there's lots of pressures in our world. And so if you're an online student or online family, or an in-person student or in-person family, and you're having concerns about your child's mental wellness, please let us help. Reach out to us. Do not wait. We have resources in place to support your family and your student in their safety. We've had a lot of questions around the new state test pilot, and we're very fortunate again to be a part of the governor's test pilot program. There are 10 schools across the state that are in this program, and so we're very fortunate because we do believe that the data that we have combined with the scientific data that we're hoping to gain from this with the Ohio State research team will help us in making sure that we have safe environments for our students. The way that this program will start is we're looking at starting on Monday with our high school and ME and MI. And so, as you know, anything that we start for the first time that's never been done before will take us a little bit of time to work through all of the logistics. We have a great plan in place, but we'll have to adjust that plan as we learn what the capacity is from the team that will be coming to our district to actually give the test to our students. And so that's going to happen starting on Monday, and as we learn more, we'll make sure to update you, and if we can expand the study to our other buildings, we'll do that as soon as we know that the capacity is there to do that. We have received a lot of questions about who's going to be in this test pilot study, and you heard me share that it's going to be 2 buildings to start with, and if we can expand that beyond the Mason High School and then the MI campus, we will do that as soon as we know there's capacity. Here's how it will work. We'll have 2 groups of students. So there's going to be a group of students that would be in the range or the area that would be typically the close contact quarantine group. Those are students that were within 6 feet of a student who tests positive in a classroom setting. So we're just looking at the classroom setting. It's a very controlled environment where students are wearing their masks. The second group will be a control group. Now the control group will be a group of students that have volunteered, their families have volunteered. This whole entire program is a voluntary program, so it's not required for anyone to be a part of, but it is an option for us as Mason City Schools to be a part of a leadership cohort of these other schools to help other schools understand how to make sure that we have safe environments for our students. So these 2 groups will have the opportunity to participate. If you're in the close contact group, the traditional quarantine group, you'll have the option when we call you. If you're in that group and we call you, we'll give you the option to participate in the study. If you participate in the study, that student will go through 4 tests over a 2-week period of time. These are rapid tests, so they're a 15-minute test results. And if they test negative in that time frame, they will actually be able to continue on with their normal rhythm at school, not after school. So it's a modified quarantine that they're on. So they can be in class, but they can't participate in extracurricular activities afterwards. So that's what the group will look like for the quarantine group. The control group, however, will be volunteers, and we need volunteers to be a part of this. This is a way for us as a community to help with this study. So what it will look like is the students will test twice, not the 4 times, but twice in this control group. It's a random sampling in the school. Students that test negative in that group obviously will continue on with their normal rhythm. They will not be on a modified quarantine because they were not a part of the close contact tracing. So if you're considering how can you be a part of this, being a part of volunteering for the control group would be an excellent way for you to help us and help Ohio State and the state of Ohio with this study. People have asked, what is the test like? And so the rapid test that we have, this is from the Abbott Laboratories. It's the version 6. It's 98% accurate or reliable. And the way the test works is it's a shallow swab of a nasal swab. So it's right here on the front of the nose. It's not the one that goes far back in and tickles the brain. It's not that one. It's actually just right here in the front of the nostril. And after they swab the nose, they put it onto just a little packet that they have, and it takes about 15 minutes for the results to show up. And so when that result shows up, that student will know the direction. If it's a negative, obviously they continue on with their normal rhythm. If it's a positive, then they go into that normal 10-day isolation. So it's helping us to understand what's really happening in our school and classroom and to look at the data with the scientific data to help us make sure we have a safe environment. One big question that we receive is, if I'm in this contact group, I get a call and I was a close contact in a classroom and I raise my hand and say I want to participate in the study, what does that mean for me? Does that mean I can continue to play sports or participate in extracurricular activities if I test negative? Well, the answer is no. It's a modified quarantine, and here's how it works. If you test negative and you're a part of this close contact group, the great news is you can continue on with your normal rhythm of learning in the classroom. So that's the great news. The news that you want to make sure is very clear is you cannot participate in the extracurricular activities that you might be a part of. And the reason for that is because this is a study, and they don't want to mix these two environments. They really believe that the classroom environment is a safe environment. So that's what we're studying to make sure that we understand how to keep schools open. When students go off into extracurricular activities, the variables change quickly. Whether they're mask or not mask, hand sanitizer, those are different variables. So they want to make sure that we keep the variables tight in the study. So again, there's great news. You can continue on with your learning if you're a part of this and you're negative, but you will not be a part of the extracurricular activities during that 14-day period. Here in Mason City Schools, one of the things we're always looking at is innovative solutions for problems or concerns or challenges that come up. And one of the challenges that we've seen across the country is that schools have had to shut down because they don't have enough personnel. Whether teachers are getting sick or possibly kiddos are in quarantine, and so it causes this dynamic where we need subs and everyone's pulling from the same sub pool. And so when we're looking for substitute teachers, we are looking around this region, and one of the ways that our board has proactively tried to make this to solve this challenge is that they just approved something called premium pay for subs during these high volume times when we're having a difficult time finding subs. And so these are 2-week periods of time, and we just enacted this. And so this will be open through the week of Thanksgiving. So it started this week, and the board has approved the ability for us to go from $85 a day to $125 a day with the hopes of drawing in more substitute teachers so we can fill those positions and so that we can stay open as a school district and make sure that we have the appropriate subs in our classrooms. So if you're considering possibly being a part of this solution and you're interested in being a sub, and this is something that's you have questions about, please reach out to us. Call our central office. We'll be happy to walk you through the qualifications and how to sign up. You can go to our website and learn more about it, but we would love to have you a part of that. And I want to take a second just to thank our Board of Education for taking this step to make sure that they're supporting our teachers and our students and keeping our buildings and our district open. There's a lot of discussions around the country about, well, what's it gonna look like after Thanksgiving in our schools, and I can tell you this, that we as a school district are committed to following our data closely. And I'll give you some examples of what that looks like for us. When we make a decision to place a classroom in quarantine for a week, or to consider if we're going to go to a different approach, for example, in our high school over the month of November, we had remote learning on Wednesdays. Those decisions are based in our data. We're looking at our data closely, working closely with our teachers and our families to understand what is the right solution. So we are not at the point of saying we're going to universally make a decision that's a one-size-fits-all for our school district unless the data would lead us to that decision. If we felt at any point in time that this was not a safe environment for our students or our staff, then we would make a decision to move to a different model. But at this point in time, we'll continue to watch the data closely, and we will inform you transparently like we have from the very beginning of the school year, and what decisions we're making and how we're making those decisions. As we end another update this week, I want to remind you to please share this information with other people that are in your network so that we have accurate information shared across the district and our community. And I will leave you with this. As we are looking at the community spread that's happening across our state and across our country and the numbers going up, I was on the phone earlier this week, actually a Zoom call with the governor, Lieutenant Governor, and Lance Himes, who's the Director of Health. And they were asking us specifically in Warren County as leaders to continue to remind people that we have a personal responsibility to keep our community safe. It's something that you and I can make decisions in our personal life, in the rhythm of our life, to make sure that we're keeping people safe. We're keeping the spread down. And as we do that, we help our community. We help our community to stay open. Earlier this week, I was talking to a server at a local restaurant, and they just heard the announcement from the governor when he gave his announcement to the state that he's going to watch the data for a week before making some difficult decisions or possibly making those decisions. The only way that we change those kind of difficult decisions and circumstances is if we each take personal responsibility in our lives. And that's the difficult decisions. That's making sure we always have our masks on. That might be difficult decisions coming up to the holidays and how you're going to navigate that. So I know it's not easy, but it is something that we can do, and each of us doing that keeps our community safe. So I encourage all of you to think deeply about what does that look like for you specifically and your family, and hopefully together we take those steps to keep us open, to keep us safe.